before the earth was laid. What an awesome price he paid. I owe it all to Jesus, all, every part of me, lying at his feet. I owe it all, let
Fire Radio.
Fire burning in my soul. Fire burning in my soul. Fire, fire, fire. Fire burning in my soul.
Our journeys through education take many routes from our early years to university. Academic Crossroads is here to explore key elements to help equip you along the way. So join us and our special guests as we also discuss the expected and unexpected paths, including all the challenges and triumphs while gathering your academic top tips.
This is Academic Crossroads with your host, Dr. Leanne Jaye Adu-Boahene.
Good evening and welcome back to Academic Crossroads live here on Fire Radio. So thank you all for joining us here today live in the studio. Thank you Keziah, Michael, Yvonne, Lisha, Goodness, Nigel, Cesar, Jane, to all of you that are locked in but maybe you haven't commented, and those that are still trickling in. welcome. So today we are continuing our transferable skills series to equip you for life beyond education. And for those of you that are already in work and you may be thinking, it's time for a shift, time for something new. You may be going for a promotion. You may be taking a sideways step, or you may be stepping into something completely new. This episode is for you. So thank you for joining us, Wisdom, and make sure you share the link, send it out, because today we are continuing our transferable skills series and we are shifting a little bit over to the other side today and looking at how to match your real world experience with what you see on the job spec. Now, when you are applying for jobs, there's a long list, a long list of requirements, a long list of expectations. But what are they really asking for, and what do these really mean? That is what we will be getting into today. And if you've ever looked at something and thought, I haven't actually done that bit before, then this episode is for you.
On Fire Radio.
So we will go straight into it and just go take a little step back for those of you maybe that weren't able to tune in last week, of just going into what are transferable skills. So we have a definition. Now, transferable skills are core abilities that have value across different roles and work settings, and they are acquired through various experiences that you may have had, like a previous job, through your education, as well hobbies or even volunteer work that you may have done. And now with these might come from previous jobs. It may be school projects that you've worked on. It may even be to do with raising your family or supporting family members, running a hobby, or even just your general life experiences. Transferable skills can come from so many different places. And something before, whether it be to colleagues, you may be a teacher yourself, or it may be something that you have worked on in a team. Now, you may also have organization skills. So this may be planning, time management. It may be managing diaries in some way, shape or form. It may be like you taking the lead and organizing the meetings for your group work. So these all come under organization skills. So think broad when you're thinking about your transferable skills. You also have problem solving skills, leadership skills, and interpersonal skills as well. So these may be actually you've had to manage conflict within your team. It may be that if you've ever worked in customer service in any way, shape or form, if you've worked in retail, then your interpersonal skills have definitely been challenged at some point in some way, shape or form. So you're already developing your transferable skills. So you're ahead in the game. You're ahead in the game. Now, with transferable skills, a lot of the time when we are applying for jobs, when maybe you're applying for a course, you might actually think to yourself that, you know what, I haven't done that specific thing before. I haven't done exactly what is outlined. But that's the great thing about transferable skills, because you can adapt. You can describe them in many different ways, and they can be used across the board. So when you are looking at your job specs, generally we have 3 different categories. Now, these are the core responsibilities. So these are the things that you will be doing in your day-to-day job. You know, the everyday tasks, the business as usual, the business as usual tasks. And so it's like strong stakeholder management or strong communication skills. And so with that being said, these are the things that will be required for your role. So these are not nice to have. These are the things that they are expecting you to already have and already be doing within whichever way, shape or form you are doing them. It may be roles, it may be projects that you're working on. If you're a student, it may be the way that you've engaged in your school or your sixth form already. And then you have your desirable skills. Now, these desirable skills are the nice to have. So you often see desirable skills or desirable experience more so based on maybe like academic achievements. So if you are going for a job, maybe a requirement might be an undergraduate degree, but a nice to have, your desirable criteria may be something like a master's or a PhD. So the desirable skills are where they might flex a bit more in terms of when they are looking at your applications, but they would be beneficial to the person who would be taking on the role if they have them. And so you don't need all of the desirable skills, but they are definitely of benefit to you when you are applying. And so when you're reading your job spec, whilst you have the 3 main criteria, so you've got your core, you've got your required, and you've got your desirable. When you're reading the job spec and when you're reading what they're asking you for, then you need to make sure you're asking yourself, what is this really asking me for? So I'll go back to the stakeholder management. So stakeholders might just be people that have a vested interest in your work, in the role that you're doing or the project that you're doing or the outputs that you're producing. And so with this, what do they really want to see in terms of stakeholder management? Is that actually you are communicating with people with different priorities. It's that you're able to maybe give the same information in different ways. It may be that actually you're able to manage time. It may be that you're able to manage the record. Then you have to think to yourself, okay, once you identify what they're asking you for, then you have to think, okay, where have I done something like this before? Within what experience do I have that actually I've helped people with different priorities? And it may be within a specific part of a project that you've worked on. It may be at school when actually you've had to do group work, or it may be that actually you've had to present something and you've had to first present it. You've had to like pitch your idea a bit to maybe your teacher, and then what you're actually presenting is going to be delivered to your class. And so you have a few different perspectives to manage in that sense. So where have you done something like that before? And then the bit that is the most powerful is, what proof can I give? So once you've identified where have I done this before, then you need to identify your example for that. What is your proof? Where can you show that actually through this example I've done this thing before? And with your examples, now often people want to give 5 or 6 different examples of where they've done one thing, but there is so much more power in actually giving a more detailed example of just one time that you've done that specific thing. It gives you more room, because often these things have word counts, right? It gives you more room to actually speak about that one experience in more detail and help you give the best example that you can for that specific thing. So when you're going through the core responsibilities, when you're going through the required responsibilities or experience, when you're going through the desirables, you have to think, what are they actually asking me for? Break it down, put it in plain English, spell it out, and think about what is it that they're actually asking me for. Then you have to think to yourself, okay, where have I done this thing before? Where can I pick up, or talking about the STAR method? So making sure that you're utilizing that within your examples as well. So remember, what are they really asking me for? When have I done something like this before? And what proof can I give? Now, we will be real life, but I will be back with you in just one moment.
Can you just, in like 30 seconds, you want to blast in the language of the spirit? Come on, lift it up. You want to pray in the language of the spirit? He will praise in unknown tongues and defies himself. Lift your voice in this place tonight.
Good evening and welcome back to Academic Crossroads live here on Fire Radio. So a few more of you have joined us. So good evening, Tendai, Michael, Sib. Oh, thank you, Aurelia. Thank you. Good evening. And Steph, you've said, sometimes there's too much info, yet it's a lot of nothing. So making sure you need to be concise, right? Concise. So good evening, Stella, as well. Thank you all for joining us. So looking at an example. So imagine now if you have, let's say you're going for a job and it's a project coordinator. Let's just say that. Good evening, Temi, as well. Thank you for joining us. So maybe for a project coordinator, it would typically say about organizing project timelines. It might be liaising with like internal and external teams as well, monitoring project progress, and using specific software that supports the job role. But what does that look like, and what does that mean? So if we break each one down and think about where you can draw from your experience, regardless of whether you've done that specific role in project coordination or not, or you've done something similar. So you have to think outside the box as well with transferable skills. So where maybe it's asked you for organizing project timelines, then it's asking for time management. It's asking for the fact that you can actually manage tasks and you can manage people along the way as well. So what could this be? This could be maybe if you've ever planned an event. It might be at your school, for example. Have you ever planned a fundraiser, a volunteering event? It may be that you've had to support, if you're doing maybe drama and theatre studies, you've had to help organise and plan the final year performance. You may have done something with school productions. It may be that actually if you're sports, have you had to organise and help organise a sports day or something like that? It may be if you're at university managing your coursework deadlines, managing your group work, the funnest thing in the world. You may have had to actually budget, family planning, things like that. And so with actually organising project timelines, think actually, when have I done this? When have I had to that? And it may be something just personal to you, something that you specifically have had to do, like coursework, or it may be something on a larger scale, like an event, for example. Now, you just have to think of it as project planning and think of similar occasions where you've had to do that. If you've had to set a date for something and work your way towards that date, you have definitely had to manage time and manage a task. So you may have not done a big project, but you've definitely had to organize a project in some way. So think of it in that way. Now, the second one that I mentioned was liaise with internal teams or external teams. Now, this is all about communication and coordination as well. And when you think about your experiences and where you may have got this from, if you've ever had to do group work, then you've done this before. If you've worked in customer services, you've done this before. If you've ever been part of a sports team, you have definitely done this before. You've communicated and coordinated. So think about these times, think about the things you've done along these lines as well, and utilize them and draw from them. If you're in school, then it may be actually that you've had to coordinate between teachers, different teachers of different departments. It may be that you've actually had to coordinate and communicate between teachers and students as well. Certainly if you are, for example, head girl, you might be a prefect, then at some point in some way, shape or form, you've had to do this. If maybe you have been putting on an event, coordination and communication is something that you have had to do. So think broad with these, because it may be that, or it may be actually that you've had to solve problems as well. When we think about when we think about monitoring project progress, there's the practical side of it is how are we going to make sure that what we are doing, actually we can see where we started and where we finished. And then there's also the other side of it, which is sort of your risks and your issues and your mitigations. So when we are getting from A to B, how are we going to make sure that we're in the best position to do so? How are we going to make sure that actually we have foresight in getting from A to B? And how are we going to make sure that actually anything that props up or comes up unexpectedly can be managed in our journey from getting from A to B? So if you have ever had to do anything along those lines, then these are your opportunities, these are your experiences that you can draw from in terms of monitoring project progress. So this is, you've got the tracking side of it, but then you've also got the problem solving side of it. So it may be that actually you're doing a project, and it might be at sixth form you thought that the date was, I don't know, the date was a different date. So your deadline, for example, was a different date. How did you then manage? How did you problem solve during that period? How did you have to adapt during that period? How did you have to then adjust your timelines? It may be that you actually had to go and speak to more people. You maybe had to get more people on board as well. So thinking broad and thinking about the actual experiences that you have had to ensure that you got from A to B successfully. And the final one that I mentioned as well was using project management software. Now, you may have not used a specific software. The likelihood is, if you've not been in a project manager role, for example, or other roles, then you may have not used the specific software that is required or mentioned even on that specific job description. And that's fine. Can you show that you're competent in other areas? What have you used? When you've had to do a specific role that is similar to the one that you're applying for, whether it be in your internship, whether it be a full-time role, whether it be on a grad scheme, when have you actually you've had to use software? Whether it's Excel, it might be that you've used Trello, you might have used your notes, your notes on your phone. You may have used WhatsApp groups or Slack or something like that. And so it's actually identifying, okay, even if you haven't used what's specifically said, then what have you done and how did you use it, and how did you use it effectively within what you needed it to be used for? And if there are hiccups on the way, as during most projects, then that's also fine. You can talk about those things as well and talk about how you overcame them. And if you didn't quite overcome them, then actually thinking about, okay, what would you do differently next time? So there's that reflection side of it from our STAR method. So when you're thinking about your transferable skills, sometimes we like to just drag the words out of the job spec and throw it into what we're saying. But it's more than that. It should be that you're actually translating what is required of you for your role and what you've already done. So looking at, okay, this is the experience I have, and translating that across to this is what's expected of me. So where can you give examples, and where can you show that actually, yes, this is something that I've done before, and I can use my skills that I already have to make sure that I will be able to do what it is that is being asked of me in the best way possible. Now, they're not expecting you to have it all. They're not expecting you to have it all. But if you can really show that actually you've got the experience, regardless of where it's coming from, then it can definitely help you with your application. So I am looking at the time now, and today was short and sweet, but that is all we have time for. But make sure that you stay tuned next week.
You have been listening to Academic Crossroads. Join us same time next week for more academic top tips with your host, Dr. Leanne Adu-Boahene.
People are here. How many grateful people are here? You are thankful for your salvation. You are thankful for your redemption. My victory is in your blood. My confidence is in your name. You took the shame so I can shine. So much you did without a price. Can you join me to sing this? How many are grateful for their salvation? How many are thankful for the blood